Ukrainian forces have liberated 182.8 square kilometers of territories during Dobrapilya operation in embattled Pokrovsk in eastern Donetsk region, the General Staff of Ukrainian Armed Forces reported in a Facebook updated on Thursday. Additional 230.1 square kilometers were cleared of Russian sabotage and reconnaissance units. According to the General Staff, stabilization efforts and counter-sabotage operations are ongoing in Pokrovsk city and its surrounding areas, alongside active defensive actions across the district. Since the start of the operation on August 21, 2025, Ukrainian forces have eliminated at least 13,945 Russian military personnel. This figure includes 8,402 killed, 5,419 wounded, and 124 captured. Russians have suffered heavy losses in terms of military equipment as well. The General Staff revealed that the Russian military has suffered the loss of 1,289 units of weaponry and equipment. These losses include 32 tanks, 101 armored vehicles, 154 artillery systems, 5 multiple launch rocket systems, known as MLRS, 435 transport vehicles, 562 motorcycles, and more than 4,000 drones. Being a strategic supply hub and located at intersection of a number of highways, Pokrovsk city has been the site of heavy combat clashes in recent months. Ukrainian forces have been managing to resist large number of Russian attacks that involve a mix of artillery, missile systems, guided bombs, airstrikes, and multiple loitering and kamikaze drones. In the latest of such attacks, Russian army units destroyed a strategic bridge connecting Pokrovsk and Oleksandrivka with the use of FAB high-explosive aerial bomb. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky this week resumed his call for Kyiv's Western allies to help boost the country's air defenses amid the surge in Russian air bombardments.
Partisans with the Atesh movement, operating as part of the 30th Engineer Sapper Regiment on the Kupiansk front, say they disabled an occupier transport vehicle by pouring sugar into its fuel tank, rendering the vehicle inoperable and sidelining it for lengthy repairs, the agency reported. According to the partisan account, the truck was prepared to depart for a combat mission when its engine failed and it could not leave its staging area. Drivers and technicians reportedly have been unable to identify the cause of the breakdown. An Atesh operative framed the action as part of a wider campaign to degrade the occupiers' ability to fight and to sap their morale. We continue systematic work aimed not only at reducing the enemy's combat capability, but also at undermining their fighting spirit. Every such action directly affects the occupiers' ability to continue their aggression, the group said. Earlier reports emerged that Ukrainian partisans operating within the Russian military helped prevent a planned offensive near the town of Vovchansk in the Kharkiv region. Our sources in the 82nd Motor Rifle Regiment of the Russian Armed Forces passed on critical intelligence about preparations for an offensive in the forested area near Vovchansk. Atesh stated, agents provided precise coordinates of Russian artillery positions, armored vehicles, and troop concentrations. According to Atesh, the data included the locations of firing points, ammunition transport routes, and the rotation schedule of Russian units. This intelligence enabled Ukraine's defense forces to fortify their positions in advance and launch preemptive strikes against Russian troops, preventing the assault before it began. The group emphasized that its informants are embedded within active Russian military units where they collect and transmit battlefield intelligence to Ukrainian defense structures. Ukrainian forces reportedly used the information to conduct targeted strikes, disrupting Russian logistics and neutralizing potential attack vectors. Russian forces have continued efforts to establish what Moscow calls a buffer zone along the northern border of Ukraine. Vovchansk remains a key target for Russian operations in the south Slobozansky direction. Ukrainian troops continue to hold positions on the northern bank of the Vovcha River, including the territory of the local aggregate plant. Earlier, Atesh reported that one of its agents inside Russia's 439th Guards Rocket Artillery Brigade helped disable a Pantsir S-1 air defense system on the Kherson front by leaking its coordinates to Ukraine's defense forces, resulting in a strike that destroyed the radar and left the system inoperable for months. Russian authorities are preparing to enlist the Defense Ministry's huge mobilization reserve, which was created by decree of Vladimir Putin in 2015. On Monday, the government approved a bill that would allow the Russian president to use reservists without declaring martial law and mobilization in counter-terrorist operations and military conflicts, including those abroad. This will allow up to 2 million people to be deployed for the army's needs. First Deputy Chairman of the Duma Defense Committee, Alexei Zuravlev, told RTVI, "After all, we are fighting very real and very large-scale hostilities, but at the same time the war has not been officially declared, and these legal subtleties limited the possibility of maneuvering for the Ministry of Defense. Now they have been eliminated," said the deputy. "The question is about people who voluntarily served in the army, receiving for this allowance various payments and benefits, and now are in the reserve, also receiving for this money supplements and benefits. These people will be involved in a much greater number of cases than before. And this is quite normal, especially given the situation in which our country is now," Zuravlev stressed. According to the bill, reservists will undergo special training camps to perform tasks in the field of defense for a period of no more than 2 months. Corresponding amendments will be made to the laws on military duty and military service and on the status of military personnel. The changes apply only to citizens who have concluded on a voluntary basis a contract to stay in the reserve and do not apply to those in the reserve, explained RBC Deputy Chairman of the Board of the Association of Lawyers of Russia, Igor Cherepanov. At the same time, the tasks in which reservists will be involved can be very different. Up to the Ukrainian front, the law has a clause on the use of the reserve outside Russia, and this applies, for example, to Sumy or Kharkov regions. There are hostilities there, but they are de jure outside the country, said the head of the Duma's Defense Committee, Andrei Kartapolov. The initiative looks like insurance in case mobilization is completed and more people are needed than can be recruited within the draft. Grigory Sverdlin, the founder of the Go to the Forest project, told Agency, "It seems that they just untie their hands, as if they are giving themselves a free hand in this way." The current legislation allows Russians in the mobilization reserve to be involved in real combat operations only within the framework of mobilization, and this requires mobilization commissions, which have been inactive since 2023. Human rights activist Artyom Klyga notes, "We see that the authorities are avoiding the second wave of mobilization, so they need a different procedure under which they can use the mobilization reserve," Klyga said. Kartapolov said the mobilization reserve includes people who either have a registered military specialty or those who have signed a contract with the Defense Ministry. They sign a contract, receive a certain monetary remuneration for it, and continue to fulfill their job, their duties in the civilian life. But if necessary, they are subject to a priority invitation to the military commissariat and referral to training camps to other various activities. Kartapolov explained. He added that now in the regions bordering Ukraine, there are many citizens who are in the mobilization reserve. According to Putin's decree on the creation of the mobilization reserve, it includes people who have signed a contract with the Ministry of Defense. The first contract is concluded for 3 years. The reservists undergo annual military training, during which time they are assigned jobs and employers are paid compensation for the absence of employees. Experts say this will cause discontent among reserve forces. This means that a new wave of discontent is sweeping Russia.